So recently seen the launch of the new Titleist T series irons, very impressive lineup, but one iron really caught my eye and I feel is a big change from the previous model, and that is the T350, the game improvement iron. So we're going to test that in this video. I'm going to put it up against another very popular game improvement iron in the way of the Mizuno JPX923 Hot Metal. So the T series lineup from Titleist has been very impressive. The T100, 150, the 200, very good. But the 350 definitely caught my eye. The difference in the look, the shaping and the feel of it was quite considerably better, in my opinion, than the previous T300. So we're going to go into that a little bit more detail. I'm going to put it up against the JPX923 Hot Metal. So for me, two really good game improvement irons. You know, you're looking for power, looking for forgiveness, looking for sort of good looks as well, which is sometimes difficult when you go into that game improvement iron. Some of these go really chunky and thick, but definitely these modern ones now are starting to look better, look sleeker, even though you've got that bit of bulk in there, which obviously helps with the forgiveness aspect. So Hot Metal, we're going to start off with that very popular iron, this from Mizuno. It's a nice shaping iron. It's obviously long from heel to toe, bit of offset there, thickish top line, but a really nice sort of shaping in the head, which is why I wanted to pop this up against that 350 from Titleist. So 7 iron, 28.5 degrees of loft. It's strong, as you're going to expect in this category. That's a great one to start off with. So real high towering ball fight. Even though that loft is very, very strong, we've got some weight deep inside this head, helping with that forgiveness, helping with that launch, bit of power there. So we're not seeing any forged material on this in the game improvement iron, which we don't in pretty much all game improvement irons, to be honest. So I just want to jump in there, ask for a little bit of support if I can. Appreciate you watching as always, but just hit that like button if you're enjoying this video. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. So we see a slightly clickier sound, which we typically would see, but it's not abrasive. I think these brands are doing a lot of work on trying to dampen sound on these sort of irons, you know, without it saying get too loud and sort of overpowering in a way. Oh, right, okay, so let's test this forgiveness. I've just done that now. It'll be interesting to see with that one. That was a little bit of a low heel. He's just peeling off a little bit to the right. Spin's just gone up a little bit there with that strike. But ball speed's pretty good there, 125, so it hasn't dropped a lot of ball speed. Obviously, that's a huge advantage of these perimeter weighted irons and where they're putting this weight in there, just really helping on maintaining ball speed on those miss hits. So the real big talking point technology-wise in the Hot Metal iron is this nickel chromoly, which is making the club 35% stronger. So when it's stronger, they can make the club face 8% thinner on the face itself. So obviously that's helping on getting that ball speed up off the club face. So really aimed at being, you know, a strong distance hitting iron, this with forgiveness. Again, touch low, a bit more centered there, but a little bit low in the face. And ball speed's pretty good on that maintenance there, on those little miss hits. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, so there's some shots hit with the Hot Metal from Mizuno. Let's jump straight into the T350. So as mentioned, this one really caught my eye when the T series launched from Titleist, the T350. Yes, it's not an iron that I would personally put in the bag, but in terms of what I've seen through fittings and the quality of the T300, which always looked a little bit cheap in my eyes in the previous models. T100 was really good, T100S was obviously good, and then T300 was like added on, just looked a bit ugly. It's totally different now, huge change. We've got that badge across the back now, so a very clean look, a little bit of a polish in there, just gives it that little bit more maybe quality look to it. And then the shaping of the club down by the golf ball is fantastic. Great shaping of the head. Top edge just flows into that toe section really nicely. We've got a pretty thick top line, as we see with the Hot Metal, and you will see with most game improvement irons. But Titleist have just sort of slightly changed the colour on the back edge of that top line. So they've polished it off with the satin as that meets the groove. So it doesn't look as big actually as what it is, so just tricks your eye a little bit in not seeing a huge top blocky top line. Bit of offset, not as much as the Mizuno there. Again, confident in spine when you put that down by that golf ball. So again, 7 iron, this is 29 degrees, so it's half a degree weaker than the Mizuno, so pretty much the same. Okay, nice straight shot. Touch low in the face if we're going to get a little bit picky, but again, ball speed looks very good there. Spins up quite a bit there. That was that low strike, I would say. Just going to pop that spin up. Good maintenance of ball speed though on that low hit. Again, these forgiveness irons are just doing that little bit of help for me. That's a better strike. That's a super high towering ball flight again. And Titleist has done a lot of work, they're saying, in this descent angle. Even these game improvement irons, stopping power is going to be more important than spin. So they're getting that descent angle coming in. You see that's nearly 50 degrees. It's going to stop the ball a lot quicker than generating another 400, 500, 600 revs of spin. Now, just flipping this club over and again looking at the back of the club, very clean as we just mentioned with the Titleist T350, and just comparing it up against the Mizuno Hot Metal. And some of you, I know, comment on this in terms of cavities in the back of the irons, these little channels and grooves where muck and dirt maybe will get in there as you're playing on the golf course. Mizuno, we do see that little badge in there, but there is a gap and you can see right into the cavity there, and it's a small gap. Stuff, you know, grass, dirt is going to get in there. That might just annoy you a little bit, whereas when you look at the Titleist there, it's clean across the back, so it doesn't look like anything can get inside the head. Oh, stunning, stunning. And again, Titleist have done a lot of work on the sound and the feel of this club. Again, with that badge across the back, creates a hollow concept, doesn't it? Which sometimes, again, gives louder sounds when you're making that ball strike. And done some good work. And I would say that probably, as a sound, is a little bit nicer sounding to me than the Mizuno. Yeah, that's great ball flight. So, post your comments down below. What's important to you when you go and try irons? Where does it sit in terms of looks, to feel, and then performance of the golf club? Those three aspects, which order would you put it in? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, a little bit pulley on the last particular shot. Okay, right, let's go and quickly check a few numbers out. Hot Metal versus T350. Right, so look at the averages between those two clubs. So you can see club head speed a little bit quicker, the T350 there. Ball speed, tiny bit quicker, but pretty much identical. Launch a little bit lower, T350, but again, not a lot in it. Spin rate a little bit lower with the 350. So obviously you can appreciate that little bit lower spin number there. It's just going to get that ball coming out a little bit further, which is where that probably extra 3 or 4 yards is going to come from. Mizuno actually gave me a little bit higher flight peak, which gave me a tiny bit more descent angle, but both in a really sort of good stopping power descent angle there. So very sort of similar on the numbers there, probably just with a little bit my strike, probably just playing around with those two, but very, very sort of similar numbers. Appreciate watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.